Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cortero, senior writer and head of social media for agentsofandom.com, joined by my fellow agent and all-star content creator, Jade Rafalo.
Woohoo! That was so nice.
Well, we're here to talk to an absolute legend in the film industry and a champion of Filipino representation in media, Anthony Francisco.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
We're
Thank you for being here.
we're so happy to have you here. Me and Jade as the Filipinos on Agents of Fandom and TJ being able to set this up. This is such an amazing opportunity, such a dream come true. So thank you for being here. So we want to start it off by asking, what was some of your comics growing up that inspired you to get into, art, drawing art, and like the whole industry itself?
Oh man, that is an answer that'll take an hour. Not just kidding. It's a lot of things, but one of the first ones I remember was Marvel Comics, and it was, I think, Incredible Hulk. I believe so, because when I was younger, anything, smash, strength, and I'm so badass, so it's Incredible Hulk. And then I think X-Men too was one of the ones I kind of gravitated to a lot. Superman's there, but I always thought Spider-Man could beat Superman, which is not true. It's always like, Spider-Man. What else? They also have these Filipino comics that, I would get to read from my uncles, or when we were younger, we would have helpers at home that would deliver us, like our meals and stuff. And they would read a lot of those kind of comics. And that kind of, really sparked my imagination. A lot of the scary, and they call it Encanto stuff, that it's great. One of it, I think, is called one superhero, Filipino superhero I remember, is called Darna.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I know her.
Yeah. So someday, maybe if I could have my take of Darna, instead of looking like Wonder Woman, she would be so indigenous Filipino, having all that kind of tribal, like Namor.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
we'd love to see that, I mean, talking about Namor, like what you did for Wakanda Forever by changing Namor from the comics, giving him this new look, giving him this, being part of imparting this new culture on Namor was one of the most positive things to come out of Wakanda Forever. So in regards to that, when Ryan Coogler, the director, described his vision for Namor and the people of Talokan, what was your thoughts going into this and, providing this new take on the character?
Man, is really exciting, because without them knowing it, I was already doing that. She's so sorry.
That's okay.
You're a busy man.
I'm not late to this interview. But alarm late for some reason. That's just no Filipino time for me.
Yeah.
Hey, I completely understand. My
Yeah.
family.
Oh man. But yeah, what you're saying, with Ryan Coogler, when he clearly defined what he wanted to look like. And, as I actually already playing with that idea, even before Namor, when I was still designing the Dora Milaje, because when I was doing the Dora Milaje, the idea of, let's say, a civilization started in Africa and the Wakandans were in an outreach program in the beginning. This is me just telling myself a story that would make sense for me to infuse Filipino, like, indigenous looks, and connect that to the Mayans and connect that to Native Americans in North America. And all of that has this kind of through line, which is interesting, because I was already thinking of that ahead of time. And when they said, this is going to happen, I was like, oh, no sweat. I kind of got an idea already. Even with the Dora Milaje, some of the versions I had under armor, I guess, undergarments that had indigenous culture already underneath, like Native American in North America, South America. So yeah. And then of course the Filipino stuff on top of that really added some spice to it. So yeah. Sorry, it's a long answer.
No,
that
that's
No,
okay.
yeah, that's very insightful. I was reading that you, as you said, like taking it from Filipino tribes, like the Ifugao tribe, like taking
yeah.
some of the garments, the weapons, like that. That's really interesting to see. And when
Did you
you
know
infuse,
that?
oh,
I
sorry,
was gonna
yes,
say,
go ahead.
you know, the Ifugao tribe did not get colonized by the Spanish because they were so up in the mountains.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
so interesting how that I use that kind of aesthetic to also apply on to a Wakanda nation that's never been colonized. So I
yeah,
think that's
that's
why it gave it that extra feeling. You know, it is kind of emotional actually when I think about it more on
Yeah. Well,
place.
and with the story of Wakanda Forever being that all eyes are on Wakanda and the vibranium, how many countries are looking to essentially take over and steal what they have? It's
Yeah,
that is very, very powerful knowing that now, that backstory.
yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you guys watched Black Panther 2 already and
oh
they
yeah,
Of course.
echoed that, yeah, echoed that sentiment. I mean, stealing resources, enslaving the population, and then, and still make it seem like it's legal. Yeah, it's such a heavy subject matter.
yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
And then just on a little bit on a lighter note, we
Yes.
had briefly talked before that you designed Baby Groot after your son. And
Yeah.
one, that's absolutely adorable because when I heard that, my one of my cousins had actually just had a baby boy and I was like, "You know
Yeah.
what? It kind of looks like Baby Groot." So that
Yeah.
makes sense. But with that, so when you're incorporating whether it's Filipino culture or another indigenous culture into these designs, is that something you have to get approved by the directors beforehand, or is that something that are just you have the freedom to do on your own will?
Yeah, that's what's amazing working at Marvel. I've been there for 9 years and they know what we're capable of and never ever really hold us back. Because there's still an approval process that we have to go through. They just have to look at stuff, but they never micromanage and tell you what to think or how to think. So most of the designs we come up with, pretty much all the team are directly from us, our own, how do you say, discussion without talking, right? We discuss through our artwork and it brings up more ideas. And sometimes they have to change the script based on some of the other keyframes we would do. And one example I could tell you is Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man. So when I was given like a part of this, like a description of the scene, like the briefcase fight scene. So
Yeah.
that pretty much was it. Briefcase fight. Or here, Anthony, yeah, I figured it out. Like a briefcase fight. What does that mean? And I said, oh, this is easy, just a fight in the briefcase. So I'm drawing it. And I realized, no, I'm like production designing it. Where the lights would come in. And I even thought of the phone lighting, because I needed a singular light source inside there. And then I started choreographing the fight scenes.
Wow.
So them
Wow.
kicking the guy, kicking each other and fighting within the briefcase. That was, I did storyboards. I did a bunch of different takes on it, and I'm happy to see it on the big screen. Even the part where I did a painting of Ant-Man feeding sugar water to one of the ants. So that was not in
Yeah.
the script. So they wrote that into the script.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So
That's
I can help,
amazing.
Yeah.
but no one knows, but now you guys know.
Well, now we
So,
know.
And now the world will know. So
yeah,
And it's
that was-
amazing because I feel like a lot of people, think, oh, they just draw designs and that's it. But it sounds like you do a lot more than that. And I'm sure a lot of other, VFX and animators do a lot more than just creating costumes or creating different designs. Like you come up with a lot of different scenes, it sounds like.
yeah. It's still there's still the leadership, of course. Kevin Feige,
Of
Victoria
course.
Alonso. Yeah, it, even even them just giving a safe space to be creative is so important, and giving you the confidence to be able to give your ideas, no matter how stupid it could be. But it's also depends on the artist yourself to not be afraid to give the ideas, no matter how big budget it could be.
Right.
Sometimes,
Right.
yeah. And and Marvel has the money for some crazy ones that come up with, like, I'm sure you guys know this already, the battle Doctor Strange versus Thanos, where Thanos
Yes.
gets the moon down.
Yes.
And I was like, no way they'll do this, but I have to get it out of my system. So let me just do it. Oh man. And when I saw it on screen, I was like, wow, I can't believe they did it. I didn't even know they approved it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing because like you're basically just a fan creating, what you want to see, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. It's like really, it becomes iconic. And yeah, I just feel grateful that I was in the right place for the ideas I have. Because sometimes you'd be in the wrong place, and no matter how nice, great your ideas are, if they don't see it, it's not gonna get made, you know? So I was lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So on regards to that, we another big movie that we had that would like, was that broke history was Shang-Chi. And
Yeah.
Jade, I'm gonna toss this one to you. Shang-Chi, first Asian-led superhero movie, critical success, financial success, great for representation. So
Yeah.
Jade, I want you to carry over here.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, well, Shang-Chi's it's easily top 5 Marvel for me at this point. But Shang-Chi is famously part of the new Agents of Atlas, who also has Wave, which you, Anthony, mentioned I was listening to the Mexipino podcast that you were on with Jackie and Nico. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
So it's so nice to see you on there and listen to you. But you brought up Wave. Is that a character you would ever like to work on in the future if she comes to the actual MCU live action?
Yeah, definitely. That's something I would love to be a part of, even possibly direct it if there's an opportunity. That would be awesome. So while I'm doing, my other projects, I'm slowly building my writing and directing skills, which, I could share this with you guys, setting up to direct my first short film this year in a couple of months. As soon as it's done, I'll share it with you guys. I can't wait to learn what I need to learn and to fail if I need to fail now, but it has a lot of Filipino folklore and like those kind of enchanted forests and stuff like that. But it really is about family. So hopefully by having something like this, and not just this, I have a few others that I'm going to be doing. This year will be a lot of building my portfolio, I guess, if you will, of not just art anymore, not just illustrated art or concept art, but actually storytelling and with the film medium. So yeah, hopefully, I'll do something good and someday,
Well,
Yeah, no,
I'm
for
rooting
sure.
for you.
Yeah.
I will be the first to say I want to see this.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Because considering, how you talked about with the Ant-Man briefcase scene, like how you basically designed that whole sequence, just hearing you talk about that back in 2015, and now here you are with all this experience you have, you're clearly, have this talent. And again, we're so excited to see what comes next from you. And, going on to that, your new endeavor, Creature Chronicles. Can you tell us more about this new project, what it's all about, and, what you're doing there?
Well, thank you guys for asking that. That is an exciting thing for me. It's my first sci-fi animated, developing an animated, series. So it's still in development phase, but since we, how do you say this, introduced it first as digital asset, digital art, they're like my characters and assets for the animated series I'm already doing. So it's, how do I say this without giving away too much? It's my Star Wars. And it's, wow, should I say it now? I'm developing. Yeah, I know, like
No pressure. No pressure.
Yep.
Yeah, because people could pick up one of the digital artwork, and then they could be members in my Discord, and then that's where I actually talk more about it. So the support really helps with the money from there will help with developing this further. and just gives it more, I guess, how do you say this? I guess it could help that part of the merchandise do better. And then you get to watch me develop this more and then hopefully make it something really great, hopefully. But we are trying to, I'm also trying to make it into a digital a web comic first to,
Ooh.
get the idea out there. Yeah, I'm excited. Actually, the characters, I got three characters in here and you're following their story of how they're, being a family. Zara, Kenji, and Nathan. And already my kids are going like, Team Nathan, Team Kenji. It's like they're fighting with each other already. So hopefully, yeah, you guys will enjoy it. But I definitely would love to have you guys see it once it's ready.
Please. Yes,
Um,
please.
yeah. Totally different sound, by the way, from what I do for Marvel. It's a little bit more on the anime looking style of things.
No, I love that. I love that you're branching out. You're trying out these different things, and you're giving the space for creators to, tell their own stories using, the experience that you have and imparting that onto them. And again, where you've come from before and where you are now is such an amazing journey, such an inspiring journey, especially as a Filipino, in the space. So, thank you for, all the work you do and, taking this time to be with us and talk with us. And, speaking on Filipino representation, we've seen, more Filipino projects with Trece, the animated series on
Yeah.
Netflix. We even see Joe Coy's comedy specials and even his movie Easter Sunday. So, from when you started in the entertainment industry to now, how has that landscape changed for Filipino representation behind the camera and in front of the camera?
It it feels like it's changing, more. Maybe it's been really slow. I recently met with Ernie Reyes Jr. and he's been around for a while. And I had to say him and Bruce Lee, I guess, were one of the people you would look at, and I knew he was Filipino. So it's like, wow, that was amazing to have seen something like that early on while I was younger. But I guess to have more of representation for Filipinos did not really take to wider to more people. So hopefully now it seems like I'm seeing more, like my crazy ex-girlfriend. Is that what it's called? What have you seen that series, My Crazy
I
Ex-Girlfriend?
don't
One
think
of the
so.
No, I
main
haven't.
characters was Filipino.
Okay.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, that was like, oh, seeing that, on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix for a little bit, and even Filipinos being mentioned a little bit more, right? My Filipino friend, and it's kind of slowly getting there. So I try to follow all the Filipino movers and shakers, I guess, that's trying to get into,
Definitely.
in the industry or already in the industry and trying to see how I, do something great with them or even newer people coming up. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get connected with with people interested in working with me on this stuff. Oh,
Oh,
the
I'm
Creature
sure once
Chronicles,
they
by the way.
hear, well,
I
like
was
the
gonna say
projects you have.
Creature Chronicles, by the way, has a lot of like Filipino, like what do you call this? How what's the word? I'm looking for Easter
Like,
eggs. Like words
oh,
that
like
sound,
references?
yeah, references.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
So even my assassins are called Astig Pintados because Astig
Oh,
means like, hard, like I'm hard and
Yeah.
a killer. And then Pintado is colored, like painted or something like that. So they're the most badass assassins in the universe.
mm.
I love that. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. It would be nice to. I also realized there's a game that I used to work in called Project Offset. One of the characters, I mean, that the Dark Elves there use Tagalog as their language. I was really already trying to. I wish it came out. It was really cool.
Yeah. I love seeing just little bits and, like you said, little bits and pieces of Filipino culture kind of just being woven into different mediums. Like, I feel like recently I've heard a lot of, people be like, oh, yeah, I'm actually like a quarter Filipino. I'm half Filipino. Like, a lot more celebrities now, I feel like, are, that are like very famous are like, oh yeah, no, I'm Filipino. I just, you wouldn't know it looking at me.
Yeah.
But no, I love that. And like even in Spider-Man No Way Home with Ned,
Yeah.
being Filipino and his Lola, that pinnacle scene taking place at her house and her speaking Tagalog and just, that just kind of being, that just felt normal, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like we're marketing this Filipino, Ned being Filipino, and we're going to have this scene where obviously they had to hide it with Andrew Garfield and Toby, but it just, it felt so natural in the movie. So it's so nice to see that coming to life. I feel like more and more these days.
Yeah. Definitely makes me happy.
Yeah. And so with that, Anthony, what would you say for young, not even necessarily Filipino, but just any young artist that's wanting to get into the industry? What is any advice that you can give?
I guess to really be patient with yourself and never give up on your dreams. It seems so cliche, right? People say that, but even getting to do the stuff I am doing now while I was at Marvel, there are still other people there that didn't believe I could sell the show or, develop this because you're not a producer, you're not a director. And I'm glad sometimes they say stuff like that because that's when you really want it, when it doesn't matter what they say, you still go through with it. So that's the advice I guess I would give beginning artists, younger artists, older artists that think like they're too old to do whatever. It's never too late. It's only late when you decide not to do it. But if you have that, right, that drive in you,
Right.
please just attempt, just try. And if you fail, just try again. And if you fail, just try again. It's like,
I love
what else
that.
will you do in your life?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that would be my advice.
Well, that is great to hear. That's inspiring. And I hope, it inspired all our listeners, all our viewers here today. Again, Andy Francisco, talented artist, storytelling, future director. We're very excited to see what projects you have coming, and we can't wait for all of it. So thank you again for joining us and being here, taking the time, sharing your insights with us.
Anthony, where can people keep up with you, like on social medias? And you mentioned a Discord. I want to join that Discord. Where
Yes,
can
please
we
join.
find you?
It is, as you could find my artworks. Usually I try to update my IG at Anthony_Francisco_art. And for Creature Chronicles, if you want to join and be part of the Atrivian army and even give, this one thing I forgot to say, you could join us and contribute with the storyline or even create your own character for the Creature Chronicle universe. And then I will like weave that into the story I have or the story you have, and you'll still own your IP. So you'll still own the characters yourselves. We're not going to own it to Dolphin. The only thing I can do, to help to get back to the community is if once my Creature Chronicles gets picked up and we actually make it into a animated series, then your characters could be part of that. That's what I'm hoping could happen. Of course, if it's not good, then I'll help you make it better, and I'll, how it goes. So that would be on Twitter, Creature Chronicles. I'm also on Twitter, art_AF_. YouTube, on Facebook, same art AF. Tell me, Anthony Francisco on YouTube. There's so many things to keep up with. Yeah. So I'm excited for everyone to check it out.
Again, we're so excited. We can't wait for your future and all the projects you're talking about. And we hope it gets picked up so we can get more Filipino representation out there. So for all our listeners, all viewers, you can find this on YouTube at Agents of Fandom, Twitter, Agents Fandom, Instagram, TikTok, Agents of Fandom. You can also find us on the website, agentsoffandom.com. We have loads of articles, including our Agents of Chains, one of which was done by Jade about Damar Hamlin.
Thank you.
Yes. So check out the agentsofFandom.com website for all the types of content, and maybe you'll see more anti-Francisco content on there in the future. So
yes, keep your eye
thank you
out.
all.
I'm gonna be
Yes.
sharing my Modok designs soon.
Yes.
Woo!